Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Wednesday, August 20th. And yesterday was not a pretty day. Pretty good risk-off day. Nasdaq was the biggest loser in that whole thing. And right now we are kind of holding on. They took it a little bit lower in the overnight, pretty much where we left it on at the close yesterday. So that's kind of where we are right now. They did take it down to that attractor area in the overnight where I thought they were going to go. This is right there at the 64.10s. So that's kind of what happened in the overnight. Right now, today, this morning is all about continuation, right? So far, news-wise, not a whole lot to drive the market. The mortgage apps came out this morning. It was a little bit to the downside, but not much. We have at 10 o'clock, we get an Atlanta Fed number. This is not a big deal. Oil report at 10:30, 20-year auction at 1. We get Fed minutes at 2. May pay attention to that. Never know, but you never know when you get the reaction to those minutes coming out at 2 Eastern. So, starting off today, we're going to start off with a range bound with a bias to the downside and see if they can take this lower. If you're going to get a continuation to the downside, they can certainly take it lower. It's anyone's guess how far that can go. And the next level down where you find support is really going to be down here at the 63.70s, that big ledge right there. And thereafter, if they keep this going, you're going to find support here around the 6300 to 6330s in this general area. So the big question for today's trading is really continuation to the downside. Are they going to try to take this lower? Is this a one-off, or are they going to kind of hammer it again? It's anyone's guess. So I would not be surprised if they tried to take it lower because we've been on a pretty good trajectory to the upside here for a while. So corrections are not are healthy. It just shakes out weak positions and reset some stuff. But it's never fun to sit and look at your 401k in a scenario like that. So that's the only downside of it. We can trade it either which way. The way we trade doesn't matter as long as we're on the right side of it. So I would start off range bound with a slight bias to the upside. I'm going to sell against that 64.30s and the 64.40s. Above 64.40s, I'll take off the short bias. The last one I will look for a short setup against is that 64.50 to 55. That's the one that broke through on the way down. So that's the way I would start off this. If they start trading up above that 55 level, we're going to be right back up in this upper area again. And that would be surprising, but it can certainly happen. But early on, I would definitely look for shorts against these first two levels, 64.30s, 64.40s for rotations back down again. If this starts trading back up above it, I'm taking off that short bias. Still looking for a short against that 55 level, but that was be it. Above that one, we're back up in this upper range. We're back range bound, and we are pretty much trading in this upper range. Not going to be expecting that big rally by any means. On the way down, it's just if they start heading lower, buying against that the 64.20s, 64.10s, 6400s for rotations back up. But back up meaning just back to this value area, 64.10. So if they start probing lower, not surprising. If they go below that 6400s, I would be more inclined to see them run down to that edge here at the 63.70. But this is like a high volume area. If they overshoot it a bit, start probing below it, not by any means unheard of. Just look for buying opportunities for rotations back to that 64.10s. But below 6400s, maybe had to worry about a continuation to the downside at that point. So that's how we get started. Fairly straightforward stuff. If you're going to get one of these holding days around value, that could certainly happen. It's going to be a range bound day then around 64.10. Or we may see continuation to the downside. I think those are the two more realistic options for today's trading. So that's the ES to get started this morning. Looking at the Nasdaq and the bonds. And by the way, this is a flurry of stuff going on in the world with the this peace agreement with the Ukraine-Russia. So it's sucking up all the air on the news, and not necessarily impacting the markets in any big way. We'll see if it gets resolved. I think the markets can see a pretty healthy change, and a couple of different dynamics can happen then. But at this point, it's kind of up in the air. So it looks like it may happen, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that it does. So bond market, I just trade that range band right now. There, it's been like a broken record. Like this, we are just trading in this area of value, back and forth, back and forth. And at this point, I would look to sell strength against the 16 to 18, 22, 23s up to that 115s. Looking to buy against the 1410s, 14 evens, maybe down to the 1322s for rotations back up again. So that's pretty much the dynamic on the bonds right now. So has been pretty boring to trade. Not much action going on that guy. It's just so slow. You have to be really patient trading that thing. On the Nasdaq, though, that we can expect a bit more action on the Nasdaq, and that is the one which is, I think, has a better chance of either leading us lower or holding the line. So they're down here against a low volume area at the 23,300s. In the overnight, right into it, stalled, right back up again. And if they take out this low volume area, we can head quite a bit lower. We can head back into this lower distribution right there, and then reverse retest these areas at the 23,000s again. So we'll see. They were down here not too long ago, probing when we had, I forgot what was causing that thing. Remember that thing? We had a big halabaloo going on there, and let me see if I fold this together. I bet this looks better. So here you have it, a pretty good edge right there at the 23,000s. But we were all the way down here at, probing it against the 22,000s not too long ago. And then there was a straight shot up from there, and now we're backing off again. So I think the market wants to trade higher. It's just in the last couple of weeks, the Nasdaq was extending pretty good to the upside. We took it. It looked pretty good while we had it. So I would start off looking to sell strength, 23 440s, 480s for rotations back down. Above 480s, I would look for potential retracement trade. Not until they take out that 580 I'm going to be excited, but take off the short bias. So looking for shorts against 445, 480 up to that 580 level for rotations back down. They start retracing these single print. These, I think we are taking off the short bias and have a shot at potentially trading back up in this upper range again. So that's what we have to get started with. On the way down, not going to be very aggressive on the long side initially against the 370s and the 330s for rotations back up. But if you take out this low volume area, I think I think they can run it pretty good to the downside. So watch that low volume area. If that comes out, we may have a little bit further downside in front of us. All right, so that is the Nasdaq to get started. Range bound biases to the downside just to get started. We're shifting the bias on the Nasdaq at the 580s. On the ES, a little bit more aggressively on the 6440s. And then let's see how far they can take it on the downside, that is, if they're going to try to do that. Finally, oil and gold. So oil, not doing much. Trading that new expiration, and they're pretty much right at that lower attractor area. So they're back down in this lower attractor area. And I don't see anything but lower prices for oil as they keep pushing that lower. There's a certain natural level they want to keep it at to keep profitability in the production, but I think energy dominance is going to be driving this a little bit lower. So I keep my fingers crossed. We want lower oil prices for sure. Except in California, it doesn't matter how cheap the oil gets. They find a way of raising prices on gasoline. I don't know how they do it. It's flat out taxes. Taxes up to the freaking, you know what. Anyway, so starting off range bound on oil. They're going to sell strength 6260s, 6310s, 6350s for rotations back down. They're going to buy weakness 6220s, 6180s, 6150s for rotations back up again. So fairly straightforward stuff. 62.20, 61.80, 61.50s for rotations back up. Looking for shorts again, 62.70s, 63.10s, and 63.60s for rotations back down again. So that is oil to get started. And gold still holding that range. They probed yesterday to the downside. They're right up above that 33.70 again. Let's see if they can hold it. If this is just a probe, we can certainly trade right back up to the 3400s here. And on gold, we are the attractor right now shifted. It used to be a little bit lower at the 40s, still an attractor at 40s, but they're pretty obvious now that the 3400 is a pretty good attractor now. So I'm still holding out and see if they can run it down here to this attractor at the 33.45s. But they were down there. Maybe they only got to 53 here. Now that's going to be it. So we'll see. The overnight looks like this is showing some strength, but as I said, I mean, if they can get up above that 76, 78 and hold above it, they're trading right there now at this big ledge. If they can trade up above it, I think we're heading right back to that 3400. So we are right at that level where either going to be a reverse retest and a rotation down, or a breakthrough and a run up to 3400. So that's what we're looking at on gold. And if they start taking this lower, they take out the 33.68s again on the way down, I would be back on the short side and see how far they can take it. So fairly aggressive on if that the reverse retest looks like it's holding, getting back on the short side and see if they can run it all the way down to that 40 level. So, but I would wait for that tractor here, or this 68.70 level to come out first before I get on, try to get back on the short side. That has been a pretty good area of support. These two support areas, so if they're at 74 and that 68, 69, especially that guy, the 68, both of these come out, I would be back on the short side again. So that's gold. Let's see if they can retrace, or if they're going to be a reverse retest setting up right around about here. Right now it looks very much like it's time to take it higher, so no rush to get short just yet. All right, so back to the ES, and everything is kind of where we left it. So no news to drive the market at 8:30. So next one is going to be at 10 o'clock, and then at 10:30 we get the oil report and see how this whole day shakes out. Yesterday started off the same way. No news to drive the market turned into a big risk-off day. So you just never know how the day is going to develop. You just start off with an assumption, a strategy, and then we adjust from there. Alrighty, guys. Good trading, and I will see you back at 11:30 for the next update.